All right, so I read an article yesterday about the 3000 GT or Mitsubishi GTO, or maybe an only United States only vehicle called the Dodge Stealth. I had a Dodge Stealth. I had a 1993 Dodge Stealth. It had a 6G72 in it, and even though the car was all-wheel drive, the motor was sideways. It was transverse instead of longitudinal. And so it made it kind of a pain to work on. And I was told that those cars just ate transmissions, but mine didn't. I couldn't keep mine running. I want to say those cars were putting down somewhere around 300 horse if it was a twin turbo, and then like 230 if it was the naturally aspirated. Mine was naturally aspirated, and I don't think mine was all-wheel drive. I think only the turbo cars were all-wheel drive, but the layout was the same. But they still had the sideways engine. Anyways, mine was non-turbo, but it was still the 6G72. Mine was a dog. It was a 93, and I had it in 05. So this was like 13 years ago, and I'm basing all of this on memory. But Jalopnik was talking about how these cars were just random. They were just, smorgasbords of whatever you wanted to put in them, and they were. You had, let's start with the gauge cluster. You had a gauge cluster that looked normal, had gas, temp, speedometer, an odometer, and tach. And then along the dash, you had like 4 more gauges. They were like little bitty circles, and they told you like oil pressure, and I'd be honest, I don't even remember what else, but there was like 4 little circles that went across the dash. Mine was a 5-speed because it was a 93. I think the 6-speed came out in 94. Don't know. Mine was a pop-up headlights one, and I think that was 91, 92, and 93 also. I don't think that they had pop-up headlights after 93. Mine also had the twin turbo scoops. And they were like right behind, like let's say that the pop-up headlights come up here, they were like right behind the pop-up headlights. Which even on the turbo cars, the turbos weren't there because the engine was sideways. It was transverse. And it was just the weirdest thing. It was pretty heavy. It was a pretty heavy little car. Even though it was small. Back seat was tiny, but it had like every electronic thing you could think of back in the day. You gotta remember this was 93, so we're running up on 25 years ago. What else did it have going for it? So the reason why I got it is it had a bad computer in it, and Mitsubishis in that era were kind of known for having bad computers, and this one was, no different. And we got a computer out of a Galant that had the same engine. Somehow we found a Galant, but the Galant was automatic. So we pulled the computer out of the automatic Galant and put it in the straight drive Stealth, and everything worked. I don't know how. Everything worked except for the air conditioning. The air conditioning no longer worked. Weirdest thing. But car had like 170,000 miles on it when I got it, and I just couldn't keep it running. I had to replace radiators. I had to replace, I think I had to do valve covers on it one time, and because they shoehorned that engine in there, it was a no-go. I never did the timing belt, but I could definitely see that would be hard too, because that thing had like 4 cams in it. So it was a monster. I just couldn't keep mine running. It had the 4 out the back. There was like 2 exhausts, and they were stuck, kind of like that, out the back. And they were like active arrow, not active arrow, but somehow they, like when you went wide open, they would open up. I cut that off. I just cut it off, because I was like 20, 19, 20, 21 maybe. So I just cut it off. Didn't have it no more. No longer used it, and that's about it. It was a pretty cool car. Wasn't really happy, owning it. Got rid of it. Cool with that. But that's the story of my Stealth or 3000 GT or Mitsubishi GTO, whichever one you had. I had the Stealth, non-turbo. Thank you much.